Alright children, we are going to discuss center of mass of a body, which is the important topic which we will be doing in motion of rigid bodies. Center of mass. As the name implies, center of mass is generally a point on a body at which the entire mass of the body is concentrated. Let's understand it. We by now understand what is the meaning of an extended system of particles, a body which is made up of a number of particles, and each particle has what? A mass, right? Now, suppose here I have an extended system of particle, a rigid body is made up of many particles. Here a particle of mass m1, here you have a particle of mass m2, you have particle of mass m3, and you have a particle of mass mn, the n particles in the system. Now suppose I apply a force F on the body, and this force F will produce a motion in the body. Let's see, under the influence of this force, this body as a whole starts moving with acceleration A. Now if I ask you, what will be the force of M1? Then you will say the force on M1 is how much you have? M1 A. What is force on M2? This force is M2A. What is force on M3? That is M3 A. And what is force on the nth particle? That is Mn into A. Meaning, when I am applying this force F, I am producing a certain acceleration in the body, a certain kinematical effect in the body. Now imagine I consider a point here P, and at this point I assume that entire mass of the body is concentrated, and this entire mass I will assume as capital M, where capital M will be, children, how much? M1 plus M2 plus M3, it will go on, right? If you add up masses of all these individual particles, it will generate the total mass of the body. We can also write total mass is equal to sigma mi I1 to n. Now if I do not apply the force here on the body, but instead I apply the same force at point P, then I will find the effect is same. Meaning, if I apply this force, if I transfer this force on the center of mass, now also the body will move with the same acceleration A, or in other words, the motion of each particle of the body will remain unchanged, it will be the same. So we define center of mass once again as a point in the body where all the mass is concentrated. Very simple. Center of mass is a mass at which entire mass of the body is concentrated, and if a force is applied to the center of mass, the body will behave in the same manner as it will when the force is applied anywhere else in the body. Means if I do not find convenient to apply the force to the body, I will directly superimpose this force where? At the center of mass, and the effect is going to be the same. Clear? So let's define center of mass. Anywhere else on the body. So this is simple definition of center of mass, children. Center of mass of a body is defined as a point at which entire mass of the body is concentrated, right? If a force is applied on the center of mass, it produces the same effect as it will when applied anywhere else on the body. Very simple. Like let's take another example. Suppose I redraw this body is made up of n number of particles. Right? Is made up of n number of particles. And if I add up total mass of the body, sigma m, which is capital M total mass, is 10 kilogram. Suppose I added up all the masses and the mass came to be how much? Equal to 10 kilogram. And then what I do is I apply a force on the body. Suppose this force is F. When I apply this force F on the body, then what will you see? This body will gain what? Certain amount of acceleration. Meaning this force will have a certain kinematical effect. The body will move with an acceleration, suppose A. Now what I will do is that this entire 10 kilogram mass I will transfer here at Cm. Cm stands for center of mass, and I am putting here 10 kilogram mass. And now what I will do, I will not apply this force on the body, I will apply this force directly on the center of mass. Now what will I see? That this same force when applied to the center of mass will produce exactly the same acceleration as it will when it was applied anywhere else on the body. You understand this? So center of mass has tremendous kinematical significance for us. Many times we will be starting the motion of a body by fixing a reference frame to the center of mass. Clear? So we understand the center of mass is very significant when we discuss motion of a body. We can superimpose the force at the center of mass, we can have the same effect as it will when the force is applied anywhere else on the body. Now children, once you understand it, it is important for us to understand what exactly, how the center of mass differs from the center of gravity of a body. Okay, so we will be discussing the difference between center of mass and center of gravity of a body. Okay, now children, we will try to understand the difference between center of mass and center of gravity. Let us understand it. This is a given body and a force is applied F and is producing an acceleration E. That means the force of particle M1 will be M1 into A, force on particle M2 will be M2 into A, force on particle M3 is how much? M3 into A. Now there will be n particles, there will be last particle having mass Mn and force on this will be how much? Mn into A. So see, all these particles will experience a force will be mass times acceleration. Now all these forces also acting in the same direction as the direction of acceleration of the body. Now what will happen is, children, if I have to find out the resultant of all these forces where they are acting, then actually the resultant of all these forces will be acting through a point called center of mass. And what will be the net force? Sigma m into A. This is center of mass. Meaning, if we consider a compact system made up of a number of particles and an external force is applied which produces a net force on each point mass which is making up the whole body, then the resultant of all these forces will be acting through a single point inside the body, and this point will be what? Center of mass. Now if I see, when I look at the center of gravity of the body, let us extend the same problem here. Now each one of these particles is having a weight. And what is a weight? Weight is basically what? The gravitational force acting on a body. So weight of M1 will be how much? M1 into G. m2 into g, it will just go on m3 into g, and the nth particle will be mn into g. So all these weights of forces and their resultant will act through a single point here, sigma m into g, and this point is called what? Center of gravity. So center of gravity of a body is the point through which the net weight of the body will act vertically downwards, which is the resultant of the gravitational forces acting on each one of these particles, and the center of mass will be the point through which the resultant of all the forces acting on individual particle will act. So this should be kept by you in mind. Clear? Now once we understood this fine difference between the center of mass and center of gravity, we would like to know what will be the location of the center of mass. Okay, so we'll be seeing how we can actually calculate, how we can locate geometrically the center of mass of a body. Okay, let's see this. Location of center of mass. Children, we are going to calculate the location of center of mass. What exactly will be the position of the center of mass? Let's see. This is an extended system. We have particle of mass m1 at what distance? r1. Then a particle of mass m2 at distance r2, and I have a particle of mass mn at what distance? r. We are going to calculate center of mass of a system of n particles, right? Now, suppose the center of mass is here and distance of center of mass is, children, RCM. Center of mass is here, CM. If center of mass is here, that means we can assume that at this point you have concentrated a mass which will be what? Sigma m or capital M. How much is the mass out here at this point? Capital M. Where capital M is what? Sum of all the masses. And here we have chosen a reference axis from which the distances are being calculated. Now this axis can lie outside, it can also lie what? Inside. The choice of the axis will depend upon your convenience. I can take anywhere I want. But remember, the location of center of mass will be the same. Suppose the center of mass is here. If I take the axis outside, the distance will increase. If I take axis inside, the distance will decrease. So location of center of mass does not depend upon the choice of the axis. We will be doing this. This is one of the properties of the center of mass. Clear? So let the center of mass is given by Cm. Now, at distance RCM. So here we made some assumptions. Let there be n particles in the whole system having masses m1, m2 up to mn at distances r1, r2 up to rn. This distance being taken from this axis, children. This is the axis. Like I said, you can choose the axis position as per your convenience. And let center of mass is located at distance what? RCM. If I use, so here total mass m will be equal to how much here? Total mass capital M is equal to how much of, children? m1 plus m2 up to mn. Or you can also write m is equal to sigma mi. Clear? If I use principle of moments using principle of moments, if I use principle of moments, children, then I have m into RCM will be equal to how much here? m1 r1 plus m2 r2 will go on. Lastly, I will get what? mn rn. I can solve this simple equation to get how much is RCM. So RCM will be m1 r1 plus M2R2 Mn Rn divided by M1 plus M2 will go on up to Mn. So children, we get a very simple formula for position of center of mass. Position of center of mass RCM is equal to, we have M1R1 plus M2R2 Rn divided by M1 plus M2 Mn. We can also write this result as, children, RCM is equal to sigma Mi Ri divided by sigma Mi, right? Now, but we know, but sigma Mi total mass can be written as capital M. So we can also write RCM is equal to sigma Mi Ri divided by M. So children, we have been able to calculate the location of center of mass. Depending on the choice of the axis, you can calculate the value sigma Mi Ri by divided by total mass of the body, right? So this is our center of mass for a system of n particles. Suppose I am dealing with a two particle system. This particle is M1 and this particle is M2, and their positions are R1 and R2 from any axis. For example, I can fix an axis here. This distance is R1 and this distance is R2, and I want to locate what will be the position of the center of mass. So center of mass, suppose, is here somewhere. Always remember, for a two body system, the center of mass will always be at a point lying on a line joining the two masses, or the centers of the two masses, right? Always between them, not outside. So center of mass will be how much, children? RCM for two body system, M1R1 plus M2R2 divided by M1 plus M2. So you can see that this is basically what? A weighted mean of the distances, right? And it will be always lying here at a point between the two bodies. This will be the center of mass. Clear? So very easily you can calculate center of mass for a given system of particles. Now we will be seeing a small problem to illustrate the application of this formula, okay? Now here you have a problem, children. Calculate location of center of mass with respect to the axis y dash. Locate center of mass of particles. Locate center of mass of the given system of. Now in this case, the problem is one dimensional. I can usually use the formula sigma mr by sigma m. So children, there are three masses, 2 kg, 4 kg and 6 kg, and the distances from the axis y dash. Any axis can be given to you. I have just chosen an axis random, or 2 meter, 4 meter and 6 meter. This can be anything actually, but I have just chosen 2, 4 and 6. So this is M1, this is M2 and this is M3, right? This is R1, this is R2 and this is R3. So center of mass we denote it by RCM is M1R1 plus M2R2 plus M3R3 divided by M1 plus M2 plus M3, right? So RCM is equal to M1 is 2 and distance is how much? F2 plus 4 into 4 plus 6 into 6 divided by 2 plus 4 plus 6. Clear? So if I multiply, this is 4 plus 16 plus 36 divided by 12. Clear? So how much do you get here? 56 by 12, 14 by 3 meter, which is 4.67 meter. So you can see the center of mass will be just outside the second mass of 4 kilogram. It will be somewhere out here between the second and the third. This will be RC. Children, actually this problem illustrates to us another important property of center of mass, and that property is that center of mass is always closer to the greater mass of the system. So you can see the greatest mass is what, 6 kilogram. So center of mass is closer towards the greater system. It is between 4 kilogram and 6 kilogram. Clear? Always keep in mind the center of mass is always toward the heavier part of the body. Clear? And here we have three system, a system consisting of three particle system. So center of mass is lying obviously towards the heavier part of the body. Clear? So remember always the center of mass is not always confined to a unidirectional problem, not in one dimension. It may be a two-dimensional or three-dimensional problem also. So we will now learn how we can calculate center of mass in Cartesian plane, that is in XY plane or a three-dimensional space. Okay? Sorry. Determination of center of mass. Okay. Determination of center of mass in Cartesian plane we will be discussing in XY plane. Children, suppose we have an object which is basically a system of particles kept in the XY plane. This is X axis and this is Y axis. Clear? Now as we discussed before, this object as a whole is made up of n particles. There is a particle of mass m1, its coordinate is x1 comma y1. Similarly, I have a particle of mass m2, its coordinate is x2 comma y2. We have a particle m3 having its coordinates x3 comma y3, and then you have particle mn having what coordinates xn comma y, and I want to locate where will be the center of mass. So suppose the center of mass is here and its location is xcm yc. We can also write what, x bar y bar. So if I consider moment of forces along y axis, let cm is xcm and yc, or you can also say x bar comma y bar, mean x and mean y. Both ways you can assume the center of mass. If I take moment along y axis, then children total mass m into distance on the y axis is what, x. So it will be xcm is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2, similarly m3 x3, and last will be mn xn. If I solve it, I get children xcm is equal to how much here, m1 x1 plus m2 x2 will go on mn xn divided by capital M is what, sum of all the masses. So we come across a formula xcm is equal to sigma mx divided by m, or sigma mx divided by sigma m. Similarly, I can calculate moment of inertia. I can calculate center of mass by taking moment of all the forces along x-axis. So similarly, by taking moment along x-axis, if I take moment along x-axis, the same manner I can say YCM is equal to sigma my by sigma m or sigma my by capital M, where capital M is what? Total mass. So this gives us a clear formula. The center of mass of a body is xcm comma ycm, and that's equal to sigma mx by sigma m and sigma my by sigma m. So this is the location of what? Center of mass of the body. Clear? So this was a problem in 2-dimensional space. Now suppose I have a 3-dimensional space, then another coordinate will be added along which axis? Z axis. x1 y1 z1, x2 y2 z2, x3 y3 z3. Similarly, therefore I can generalize this result in xyz plane or 3-dimensional space. Center of mass is xcm, ycm and zcm. Clear? Well, children, how much? What is the value of xcm? Sigma mx upon sigma m, or total mass you can directly write. Similarly, I have sigma ycm is equal to sigma my by total mass, which is sigma m, and then we have zcm is equal to sigma mz divided by total mass. So children, this is a formula that we got for calculating center of mass in 3-dimensional space, right? Remember, we have just added one more dimension. After sigma my, you have added sigma mz divided by total mass, that is m. Okay. For numericals, actually, you have to be very clear that if we are dealing with the Cartesian space, then we need to find out the coordinate of every point mass, right? Then we can use xcm is equal to sigma mx by sigma m, and ycm is equal to sigma my by sigma m, and zcm is equal to sigma mz by sigma m. So depending upon whether they are in 2-dimensional space or 3-dimensional space, these formulas can be used, but you have to make sure that you are able to find out the coordinate of every point mass. For example, here we have an equilateral triangle. Okay. We have masses m, 2m and 3m. They have been placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle. Length of each side is a. Three masses m, 2m and 3m have been placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle having each side of length a, and I want to calculate what will be the position of center of mass of the entire system. Okay. Here the question is, calculate, I'll write it here, calculate center of mass of the system right, and the given figure in the question is an equilateral triangle. So now children, in the beginning when I started discussing the concept of determining the position of center of mass, I told you very clearly that location of center of mass will not depend upon the choice of the axis. So I can choose any axis. Suppose I choose an axis here. Suppose I fix my x and y axis here. Obviously the problem is what? A two-dimensional problem. This I am regarding as x axis. This I am regarding as y axis. Clear? And this is point O, this is A and this is B. I am fixing origin with point mass M. Clear? So let origin is fixed at mass M. Let origin is fixed at mass M. Clear? So I told you that whenever you deal with problem, obviously it's a two-dimensional problem. So we need to locate the coordinate of every single mass. So these masses are all point masses. Keep in mind now. Obviously the coordinate of point M will be what? 0, 0. Why? Because you chosen this as the origin. When I look at point, first we look at B and then we'll go to A. B is lying along x axis, so its y coordinate is how much? 0. So its coordinates will be A, 0. And that leaves us with the coordinate of point A. So find the coordinate of point A, will top perpendicular here. So this is an equilateral triangle, each angle is how much? 60 degree. This is also how much? 60. Say this point is C. So OC will be the what? Abscissa, that's x value, and AC will be what? Ordinate, that is y value. So we know that OC will be A by 2. This will be A by 2. Now we have to calculate how much will be AC. For calculating AC, I can just use tan 60 is equal to AC by A by 2. Clear? And how much is tan 60, children? Root 3 is equal to AC by A by 2. How much, children, AC? AC is root 3A by 2. So you got how much is AC? That is root 3A by 2. So we can easily calculate what will be the coordinates of point A. We will have to write abscissa, and then I will be writing ordinate. So coordinate of point A is A by 2 root 3A by 2. And remember, when you are doing sums, you should make sure that you are able to find these coordinates. Without finding coordinates, you will not be able to do. Now I will say let center of mass is xcm, or you can write x bar, y bar, same thing, any symbol you can use. So this is M1, this is M2, and this is M3, right? I can call this as M1, I can call this as M2, and I can call this as M3. I mean, there is no restriction, you can assume in any order you want. So x bar will be, children, M1 x1 plus M2 x2 plus M3 x3 divided by M1 plus M2 plus M3. Right? Let's put in the value. M1 I have taken M, x1 is 0. M2 I have taken as 3M, and x2 is how much? A by 2. M3 I have taken as 2M, and then x3 is A divided by M plus 2M plus 3M. 3MA by 2 plus 2MA divided by 6M. So you have 7MA divided by 6M. So we got how much here? 7A by 6. 12. Sorry. 7a by 12. Now, similarly, I can calculate how much is y bar. So, y bar is m1 y1 plus m2 y2 plus m3 y3 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. So when I take mass as m, then what is the y coordinate here? 0. So I write m into 0 plus. When I write 3m, then how much is distance? E by 2. Plus. When I take mass at 2m, then y is how much? 0. Divided by, if I add up all the masses, how much I am getting? 6m. So these two terms are reduced to how much? 0. M is cancelling out. So how much is y bar? 3a by 12 e by 4. So what is the location of center of mass, children? X bar comma y bar is equal to, how much is x bar? 7a by 12 and a by 4. So this is the location of the center of mass. Clear? So 7a by 12 will be somewhere here, and y is what? E by 4. E by 4 will be somewhere here. So this will be the location of the center of mass. So if a problem is given to you, you can locate the coordinates of each and every point mass which is making up the whole system, and then you can use the simple equation. Always keep in mind the center of mass will be closer to the heavier part of the body. This is very important. You can use the simple equation, you can calculate what is the center of mass. Now I will be seeing another example and the problem where masses will not be given. We have to assume masses and we have to produce. Okay. Often we get problems based on letters. So we will be seeing one such problem. Okay. Let's see this. Calculate center of mass of letter E as shown. Now I have not been given anything, only the dimensions are given. So I will divide this figure as a whole into 4 parts. I can take this as part 1, then I can take this as part 2, I can take this as part 3, I can take this as part 4. I want to calculate center of mass of the entire system. So I will fix my origin out here. I will regard this as x axis, I will regard this as y axis. Clear? If you study this figure clearly, the length of this letter E will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 centimeter. Height of letter E is how much? 20 centimeter. And then there are different segments. Only one is different in area. 2, 3 and 4 are same. Then I will say let mass of unit area is equal to m. Clear? So mass of part 1, m1 will be how much, children? 20 into 4 into m, that is 80 m. And now masses of 2, 3 and 4 will be equal. So I can say m2. Actually what you have done, what I am doing, children, I say mass of unit area is m. So when you look at this part 1, this segment, length is 20 and breadth is 4. So area is how much? 80 centimeter, 20 into 4, and mass of unit area is m. So for total mass, I will be multiplying 20 into 4 into m. Alright? That is 80 m. Now mass of 2, 3 and 4 will be equal, and each will be 6 4s 24 into m. So the first part is done, we have calculated mass. Now the next thing is in finding the coordinate of each block. Now first block is symmetrical. And remember, as you know already, center of mass of a symmetrical object is always the geometrical center. So block 1 is what? Symmetrical. So geometrical center will be the center of mass. So this is 4 units. So how many units will go? 2 units this side. And this is 20. So we'll be getting half of 20 is what? 10. So will be somewhere out here. This will be 2, 10. Right? Now let's see center of mass of the second block. This is 2. So center of mass will be at what distance from here? 3. And this is 4. So it will be 2. So this is 3 and this is 4. So it will be how much? 7 now. 7. I'll write 2 here. The center mass will be 7, 2. Now center mass of the third block. Same. This side I will be going how much? This is 6. So 3 and this will be 2. 3 and 2 all the time, but I have to add this extra, this height. So x will be 7 only. Right? And this is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. Plus 4, 10. 7, 10. You can see clearly here. I assume the center of mass is here. So this is 2. But I have to take the what? Height from here. 2 plus 4, 6 plus 4 is how much? 10. Now we go to the last block. Last block again, this is 7. And this is 2. So this is 4, 8, 12, 16. 16 plus 2. 6 plus 2 is how much? 18. So center of mass of this part is 7, 18. So children, we got all the 4 blocks. 2, 3 and this is block 4. Right? So I'll say let center of mass is x bar comma y bar. Clear? So x bar is how much, children? m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 plus m4 x4 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4. Right? So how much is x bar, children? m1. If you see m1 is how much? 80m into x1. How much is x2? Plus m2 is how much? 24m. And how much is x? X is 7. In each case it is what? 7, 7, 7. So I can multiply this by what? 3. 3 blocks are there. Divided by total mass 80m plus 3 into 24m. Clear? So we get 160m plus we have plus 72. So how much we have? 4, 6, 6. Cancel out this. So children, we calculated how much is x bar. That is 83 by 19 m. Clear? Similarly, you can calculate y bar also. Y bar equals to sigma my by sigma m. Same way exactly. That is, we have m1. m1 is 80m. And the y coordinate is how much? 10. So 80m into 10. Next one, if you see, m2 is how much? 24m into 2. 24m into 10 plus 24m into 18 divided by total mass, children, m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4. m1 is how much? ATM plus 3 into 24 m. 154 divided by 19 centimeter. So children, we calculated x bar and y bar. Therefore, what is the center of mass? X bar y bar is equal to how much here? We have 33 by 19 comma 154 by 19. So this is the location of the center of mass. So if you are given a problem like this, you should be able to handle it very easily. Okay. Now children, we are going to discuss velocity of center of mass. We already know RCM is equal to M1 R1 plus M2 R2 divided by capital M, where capital M is our total mass. If you cross multiply, it becomes M into RCM is equal to M1 R1 plus M2 R2. We continue till Mn Rn. Once you got this, we will simply differentiate both sides. Differentiating both sides. What do we get, children? M into derivative of RCM with respect to t is M1, derivative of R1 with respect to t, M2, derivative of R2 with respect to t, and we continue till we differentiate Rn with respect to t. We know the derivative of displacement with respect to the time gives us velocity. So here derivative of RCM with respect to time will give the velocity of center of mass. Here derivative of RCM, children, with respect to time will give you the velocity of center of mass, VCM. Similarly, derivative of R1 with respect to will give the velocity of particle 1, that is V1, etc. If I substitute everything out here, then what do we get? M into velocity of center of mass, VCM, is equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2 plus Mn Vn. Let's call it equation 1. Now, we know by definition that the mass M is concentrated where? At the center of mass. This equation 1 gives us two important results. First one is that velocity of center of mass will be M1 V1 plus M2 V2 plus Mn Vn by M, or velocity of center of mass is equal to sigma mv divided by sigma m. You can write like this also. So this is expression for velocity of center of mass, right? Now there is another expression that we can get here. If you multiply total mass of the system with the velocity of center of mass, then we get total momentum P. Momentum of center of mass is equal to M1 V1 is momentum of the first particle, M2 V2 is momentum of the second particle, and Mn Vn is momentum of the nth particle. So we can write this is P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus Pn, or we can say that momentum of center of mass will be equal to sigma Pi I1 to n. Meaning, if we add up momentum that is attributed to single particle, each particle of the system, if we add them, then that's equal to the total momentum of the center of mass. In vector form we can write P for center of mass center of mass is equal to sigma p vector I1 to n. If we add vectorially the individual momenta of all the particles which make up the whole system, then that will be equal to the total momentum of the center of mass. Clear? Now equation 1 is very important equation again. If in fact if you differentiate both sides, we can also calculate acceleration of center of mass. Let's see what exactly we get from here. We differentiate equation 1. Now children, this is equation 1 which we got. I will use this equation to calculate what will be actually the acceleration of center of mass. We will be seeing now acceleration of center of mass. And for calculating acceleration of center of mass, we differentiate both sides of equation 1. Differentiate equation 1. If you differentiate equation 1, then capital M, remember capital M is the total mass. Derivative of velocity of center of mass with respect to time will be m1 into dv1 dt plus m2 into dv2 dt, and lastly mn into dvn dt. Now children, we know dv dt is the what? Velocity. So derivative of velocity of center of mass with respect to time will be m into acceleration of center of mass is equal to m1a1 plus m2a2 plus mn. Clear? I will call this as equation 2. From this equation 2, I will conclude that acceleration of center of mass is ACM is equal to m1a1 plus m2a2 mnan divided by total mass, or we can write again, we can also write acceleration of center of mass is equal to sigma ma divided by sigma m. Or if I write in the vector form, acceleration of center of mass is equal to sigma ma divided by sigma m. You can write I form 1 to n, I1 to n, right? So this expression and this expression both give us the value of acceleration of center of mass. You can use this or you can use this. Now if you go back to this equation 2, we get a very interesting result. See children, m is the total mass of the body and a is the acceleration of the what? Center of mass. Now this m1a1 plus m2a2 and so on, these are forces acting on individual particle. Let's see here, this is the body, m1 is getting a force F1 which is equal to m1 into a1, right? Now m2 is experiencing a force F2 which is equal to m2 into a2, and the nth particle is experiencing a force mn. Here we have mn into an. This is Fn, right? Now if I am adding all these forces, then I am finding actually that is equal to the product of mass and acceleration of center of mass. That means the resultant of all these forces in fact is acting through the what? Center of mass here, and this is given by what? F, and this is what we assumed when we define what? Center of mass of a body. The resultant of all the forces acts through the center of mass. In other words, if a force is applied anywhere on the body will behave in the same manner as it will when the force is applied to the center of mass. So here whenever we consider a problem, we can assume a situation in which the force is directly applied to the center of mass, and the conclusion will be same as it will be when you consider force on individual particles, right? So we conclude from equation 2, m into ACM is how much? F external, because if I add up all these forces, If I go to all this expression, then we get m into ACM is equal to F1 plus F2 plus F3 dot. This is what you get now. And if I add up all these forces, M1 plus M2 plus M3 plus Mn, so this is actually what? The external force. And this is what I've written. In vector form we can write m into acceleration of center of mass is equal to net external force. So many times we will be using this concept where the force will be directly applied to the center of mass, and then we can consider the motion of the body very easily. Clear? Okay. Now children, once again, if a force is applied on the body, that each one of these particles experience a force. This is F1, this is F2, and this is Fn. If I want to get the net force on the body and develop a relative equation, I will be adding all these forces. But what he concluded, that instead of studying the force on individual particles, we can just consider that the net mass m is concentrated where? At the center of mass, and we will use a single equation for the total mass. I will be saying sigma Fi is equal to external force is equal to total mass into acceleration of center of mass. So this is a very useful tool for us. Instead of studying forces on individual particles, we can just study a single force acting on the mass concentrated at the center of mass. Clear? Now let us see an interesting example, bursting of a projectile. Suppose you project an object from here. The object travels up to here, it is a projectile, and it is bursting into multiple components. One component goes here, another component goes here, another component goes here. Of a projectile, suppose a cracker for example, or a missile, it is flying from here, and at this point of time it is bursting into fragments. Now what will happen to its center of mass? The interesting thing is that the bursting of the cracker involves internal forces, and internal forces will be able to make no difference to the center of mass. So what happens to the center of mass? In fact children, the motion of center of mass after bursting will be governed by the next external force, and the next external force acting on the center of mass is what? Force of gravity. So what will happen children? That center of mass will continue to move without any effect along the same trajectory and finally touch down here. Understand? The reason is because these internal forces will not be able to produce any effect on the motion of center of mass. It is only external force which will be able to make a difference. So even though the projectile is bursting into fragments, this is fragment 1, this is fragment 2, this is fragment 3. Irrespective of how many fragments it is bursting into, the center of mass will continue to move along the same line. Why? Because the sole external force is the force of gravity, and force of gravity is continuously acting, it continues to act on the center of mass even after the explosion or bursting. Clear? So we can explain this only when we have in mind that mass into acceleration of center of mass is equal to total external force. Clear? Okay. Properties of center of mass. What are properties of center of mass? Now children, the first property is that center of mass contains all the mass concentrated on itself And if a force is applied to the center of mass, it will behave in the same way as it will when the force is applied anywhere else on the body. This is the first property, okay? Now here we have written it. If a force is applied to center of mass of a body, it produces same effect if it is applied anywhere else on the body. We have discussed this many times before. Now the second property is, if you have an object which has got a regular shape and size, then its center of mass is same as geometrical center of the body. For example, if you take a sphere, its center is the geometrical center. Center of mass is the what? Geometrical center. If you take a disc, then also center of mass is the geometrical center. If you take a cylinder, then also, if I take a cylinder here, center of mass of the cylinder will be center of the axis here. If you take an equilateral triangle, then of course centroid will be the center of mass. So if I take a rectangular rod, for example, then where is the center of mass? Center of mass is geometrical center. So if an object has regular shape and size, then its center of mass is always the geometrical center. Okay, let's write. So we wrote down the second property. Center of mass of a body having regular shape is the geometrical center. But you don't have to think always that the center of mass lies within the body. In some cases it may lie outside the body also. For example, take the case of a ring. This is a ring, suppose. Its center of mass is here. Meaning, center of mass is not lying on the ring. It is lying where? At its geometrical center. But see, geometrical center is not on the what? Ring. It is outside. So keep in mind that center of mass of a ring lies what? Outside. So I'll write this. The center of mass may lie outside also. Then, if an object has got uneven shape, it is not regular, it has got irregular shape, then center of mass will always be located toward the heavier part of the body. Suppose you consider a body like this, then where will be the center of mass? Toward the heavier part of the body. It will not be above, it will be below. So always remember, if an object has got irregular shape or irregular mass distribution, then the center of mass is always toward the heavier part of the body. Okay, let's say this. So center of mass of the body is always toward the heavier part of the body. Clear? Like when stood here, let's see another typical case. Suppose I give a disc. This is a disc. Now where is the center of mass? At a geometrical center. Clear? Now what I will do is, this is the disc. Its center of mass is its geometrical center. Now what I am going to do, I am going to cut and remove part of the disc. Suppose I cut and remove like this. This is the center. So that I am going to cut and remove this much. So this part is not there. What will be the location of this? Now here children, if I take a disc, then its center of mass is the geometrical center. But suppose from the disc, I cut and remove this part. So this part is not having any mass, is hollowed out. This part is not having mass. So what will happen to the center of mass? The center of mass will now shift where? To the right, to the heavier part. Initially it was at O, now it will be at O dash. Right? We can actually calculate where will the center of mass be. So center of mass will be located where? On the right hand side, because the right hand side is what? Heavier. Okay children? So go through these concepts in detail. Okay?